could be said that we've been looking into the power of three. And as was said the other day, we've all experienced what it is that's present when our body, our mind and our spirit are in alignment, because we're in a state of harmony. And we also know, because we've experienced what is there when the three levels of existence merge, that cause and effect or duality, that intuition and that interrelatedness, put us in a state of Satchitananda. We also know all of the superstitions about the three. However, the other day, when the chemistry of three stories or anecdotes was brought together, everyone looked a little bewildered. So let's see what happens when we bring three more anecdotes, the chemistry of those anecdotes together. But now, resting it on this statement that the power of three is like pointing a finger at the moon. So the first anecdote is about a Zen sect, you could say, or a branch of Zen Buddhism that had been bequeathed a castle with all its trappings, servants and a stipend to provide good food. And so it came to the attention of the administrator of Zen monasteries that the monks that were housed in this castle had become so used to the good life that they'd become debauched. So the administrator of the Zen monasteries called on an old hermit monk who lived in a cave in the mountains. And when the old hermit monk came before the administrator, he asked, "What is my task?" And the administrator said, "Fix it." And the monk said, "Time." The administrator said, "No time." "Limitations?" said the old monk. "No limitations," said the administrator. So within 2 weeks, the old monk was back in front of the administrator. The administrator said, "That was fast. How did you do it?" The old monk said, "Took a torch and burnt it down." And then there were two Westerners got lost in the forest, and they came across an old hermit sitting under a tree. And they said, "We're lost. Can you point us in the direction of a city?" And the old hermit kind of muttered to himself, "Even if I tell you, you'll still get lost." But then he said to them, "Well," he said, "you hear that sound coming from over there? Well, that's a brook. And you know, a brook runs into a stream, and a stream runs into a river, and cities are always built on rivers. So if you follow that brook, you'll find that you'll have plenty of water and you'll have berries from the trees to eat." So one of the Westerners said to the old hermit, "Is that one of those Zen sayings like, go with the flow?" The old hermit said, "Well, maybe it is and maybe it isn't." The third little anecdote is about the Zen master who called 3 of his students together with him, and he took them by the hands and he led them down into the red light district and put them in the hands of the old madam. And he said to them, "Come back in the morning when the temple bell rings." So the next morning, when they returned to their monastery, the old master asked them how it was for them, and the first one said, well, he said, "I remembered my vows and I was determined to live by them. So I made the girl sleep on the floor." And then the second one said, well, I'd always heard about the wonderful merging that came with an orgasm, so I managed to attain it 5.5 times. And the third one said, well, you see, I spoke to the girl, we spoke, and then we made love, and then we spoke again, and then we made love, and then we fell asleep in one another's arms, and I realized how lonely I had been. And so the three of them in unison said to the old master, "Master, what is the lesson that we are supposed to learn from this?" The old master said, "No lesson, just the outcome of experience." The power of three. Chemistry of stories. Perhaps we can say when we're making a vinaigrette, we put together the vinegar and the oil, and we add some mustard. What do we have to do with it to make our vinaigrette? What do we do with stories? What do we do with the experiences of life? Every meeting we have that inevitably, inexorably, and all those other words, we
add to our experience.
We do. And they have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And what do we do with them? What happens to them? So, let's ask all of you, what do these three anecdotes, the chemistry of these three anecdotes, bring up for us? Knowing that whatever goes in, not only when we're in a state of harmony, but when we're in a state of Satchitananda, what happens to the experiences of life?
Can we draw on them when we need them again?
Absolutely we can. What comes up out of these three anecdotes for you? They're like all the experiences of life. The finger pointing at the moon, as the Zen saying goes. And inevitably, we know that whatever experiences we have, whatever goes in, is going to evoke in us a response. Even if it's just a nod saying, "Oh yes, I got that, I know that." "Oh no, I don't." So it's left to cook up a while. But let's make it now. What do these three anecdotes bring up and evoke in you? is the meaning for you? Or do they need to be shaken up a while?
To feel the feeling.
Pardon?
To feel the feeling.
Feel the feeling.
Feel the feeling.
Right.
Well, we don't have to be the meaning, we can just navigate in it and it's the acts anyway for our experience and we do instinct.
Okay.
For me, they will flow into the feeling body.
Yes.
And add to the stirring of that mix and out and then new part of it. Something right the way.
Know who we are.
Right. Because we can claim them. We know the moon. Doesn't everything point to the moon? Everything? Every experience in your life point to what that moon represents? So what's the meaning of these experiences of life and these anecdotes and these stories? Like those two Arabs sitting by the side of the road when a camel lumbers past, and they're both smoking the hubble bubble pipe. And one in a daze says to the other, "What does that remind you of?" And the other one says, "Food." The other Arab says, but we're Arabs, we don't eat camels." The other one said, "Everything reminds me of food." What is this moon?
It's the self.
And it represents life, isn't it?
Yes.
It's all about the experience of what we have in life. It's always there.
The illuminated self.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm not out of a job yet.